Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing. Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 420 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. What's going on out there? Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I'm really glad you're here. So I was getting my hair done this week, and my hairstylist, whose name, ironically, is also Heidi, we were talking about dealing with hard things and how we all have to do it. Now, some have harder things than others, but no one escapes tough stuff. She reminded me of a quote that she'd read earlier in the week, and it was, "Strong women are made, not born." I love that so much. It's really empowering to hear. You may not think you're strong enough to get through something, and maybe yesterday you weren't, but today you just may be. We get stronger every time we face a problem and come out on the other side. We get wiser too. I thought that would be a good way to start this episode because I know a lot of you that listen are women, and you're probably going through something hard, or you've definitely gone through something hard in your life. And just know that you can handle it, and you're going to be better for it, even if it doesn't feel like it at the time. I promise you that. So recently, we've been out of town for a couple weeks. It was so nice. We go sailing with friends every year in the BVI, British Virgin Islands. It's an amazing trip. So, of course, I don't get a chance when I'm out of town to see my big sister, and it's been a few weeks since I visited her. And so we haven't had time to catch up. But I was talking to her, and she was like, "When are you coming to see me?" And I said, "Okay, I will definitely come one day next week." In my mind, I was thinking how sweet it was that she couldn't wait to see me. And then she said, "Okay, good, because Mom and Dad and I are going to spend the weekend with Sarah, and I want to take her pottery, and so we need to get the kiln finished so that I can take those pieces and get them finished." Now, if you've been listening for a while, that's the sister. That's the one that I have a strained relationship with because of religious reasons. She doesn't really want to be part of our life. Now, we've made a little progress, for which I'm grateful, but to no avail as of yet. So immediately, my mind goes to, I'm just being used here. I mean, she cares more about my other sister than she does about me. And they don't ever seem to care about how I feel. Now, those are all the thoughts that were quick. I mean, they came right into my head. And so I was like, okay, I just pushed them aside, and I thought, well, I'll deal with them later. I didn't want to deal with them right at that moment. So the later came, and it was a few days during meditation, when you're not supposed to be thinking any thoughts at all. So I was meditating, and that conversation popped into my head for some reason. And the thought that stood out was, well, I don't know if they ever show concern about me. And as I thought about that, I realized that it's because I don't let them. I'm in such protection mode with them all of the time that I never let them know if I have problems or worries or my feelings are hurt, because I always let them think I'm fine. I don't need anything from them. I don't want them to think I do, because that would make me vulnerable, and I don't trust them like that. I love them, but they're not the people that I go to when I'm having a problem, because they only think in one direction, and it usually has to do with what the religion thinks about it. So I am choosing to always keep my guard up with them, which doesn't really give them the opportunity to worry about me. So how can I blame them when they don't? And that's a really interesting realization for me. I don't ever want them to have leverage over me, so I keep my guard up at all times. It's interesting. Now, what am I going to do with that new realization? It's a good question, right? Am I going to let my guard down? Doubtful, because I don't trust them completely. And it is what it is. That's just the reality of life. No matter how much I want it to be different, my family just isn't that way because of religion. So my wanting it to be different has caused a lot of problems for me. It's so interesting to know that. It's very freeing. It doesn't make me love them less or want to be around them less. It just makes me appreciate the people in my life that know me and accept me for who I am. And I have a lot of that tenfold. I don't need my family to be different. I need to let them be exactly who they are and love them for who they are, not who I want them to be. My role with them is one where I love them and we enjoy every chance we can to be together, and that's it. I don't get advice from them. I don't trust them with my secrets. I don't run to them with my problems. They're my family, and I will always love them, but I have other people in my life whom I love and trust. So I don't mind being vulnerable with those people, but that's just not the role my mom and dad and my big sister play in my life, and that's okay. We so often have rules about the people and how they should act and how they should be so that we love them, how they should act or not act. We have a script, and if they don't follow that script or play the role correctly, then they don't love us or we get mad at them. But if we just step back, just take a step back and think, you know what? Maybe I don't need them to be that way in order to love them or have them in my life. Maybe that's just not the role they were meant to play in my life. When my baby sister Molly was growing up, as she got older, she lived with us her first year in college. And she has always been exactly who she is, even as a young kid. And sometimes she would say things or do things in front of my parents or other adults that was just completely inappropriate. And my husband Eric finally sat her down one day and he said, "Hey, that was completely inappropriate to say in front of your parents." And she said, "Well, that's just who I am. I'm just being me." And he said, "No one is asking you not to be you, but you have different roles you play in life, and there are different things that are appropriate with each role. So you're going to have work role, you've got your girlfriends, someday you'll have your boyfriend, there's your parents, and you are always you, but sometimes you change roles. You don't want to say the things you say with your girlfriends around your parents." You see, she thought that in order to be authentic, she should just be however she wanted, whenever she wanted, with whomever she wanted. But the reality is she could still be who she is, just realizing that her mom and dad don't find certain jokes or certain things funny, when her girlfriends may fall on the floor laughing at them. You see, she doesn't need mom and dad to be in on the jokes to have a good life. That's not the role they play. And there's nothing at all wrong or missing in her life because of it, unless she makes it so. The same thing applies with me and with you too. Your husband may not be your shopping partner. That's okay. Your sister probably loves to step in. Your mom and dad may not keep the grandkids as often as you think they should or visit as often as they should. That's okay. Doesn't mean they don't love them. Your parents may not want to hear your dirty jokes. That's okay too. That just wasn't the role they were meant to play in your life. My challenge to you today is to evaluate how you feel about the roles certain people play in your life. Do you feel the need for them to be a certain way, or are you grateful for them just the way they are? Share this with 3 people that you love and want to see thrive. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.